No, no. No. So, welcome everyone to Christina Speaks. I'm excited to be here with Tar and Erika Macias. They are with Hola America, and they have a bilingual publication that is published in central Iowa. It started in the Quad Cities. It covers that area as well and everything in between, and I believe even to the other side of the state at this point. Are you statewide now?
A couple, we've been to a couple places, and Monday we're going to be going to Denison, Iowa. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. So you
Again.
guys are just slowly going west across the state.
Correct. Yeah.
Great. So, tell me, how did you start Hola America?
Well, I started All America back in the year 2000, and I thought it would be a good business opportunity. There was another local newspaper that was bilingual, but they were kind of on their way out. So I decided, well, there's going to be a need for another one. So we started that, and I thought it would be a good business opportunity. But pretty soon it became more like a community service. You know, it was more like a non-profit. But I was able to embrace that and really shape what All America is, and is a reflection of our Latino community from the Quad Cities. So we've been doing that for 19 years, and in the year 2014, I decided to bring that model and adapt it to the central Iowa and to the whole state of Iowa. And thanks to the progress on social media, that has allowed us to really reach every corner of Iowa, even if our physical newspaper doesn't reach that area. Yeah.
Wow. So, did you start bilingual, or did you start in Spanish and then go bilingual?
I started bilingual from the beginning. Yeah,
Awesome.
and because in the state of Iowa, 70% of the Latinos that live here were born in the United States. That means that eventually, even if Spanish is their first language, English is going to become their dominant language once they start school.
Right.
So a lot of our Latino community, second or third generation members, they do not speak Spanish anymore, but they still are very proud of the Latino roots. So we want to make sure that they still know what's going on in the community, even though they might not speak Spanish anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. All of the stuff that I do for the Warren Marlatt Music Festival is in English for that same reason. And in the beginning, we thought, oh, people are going to be upset, or they're going to say, well, how are you going to be a Latin music festival and all your advertising and everything that you do is in English? We have not had that at all. The majority of people who come out, they're either bilingual, or they don't speak Spanish, or they speak Spanish but they're comfortable enough with English where they get, hey, these are the musicians, this is the time, this is where it is. You know, they get the basics. And so our website, all of our advertising, all of our promotion, everything we've done in English because of that same thing. And most of us working on it, you know, we have our meetings in English. The people we talk to about it, it's in English. So yeah, that's definitely the world that we navigate. So it's smart.
That's right, and I think it's all about who's the audience you're trying to reach.
Right.
And you're trying to reach a young audience with your festival. And the young audience here, the young Latinos in Iowa, they might speak Spanish at home with their parents, but on the everyday life and with their friends, they're speaking English.
Right.
So English is going to be the dominant language for them. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite part about your publication? Is there one that you are always like, oh, I love this, you know, that we do this or that we feature this? What do you like the best?
What do you like about the
Like
publication?
Los dibujos, the
Yeah.
drawing for the kids.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Every
special-
now and then we haven't done in a while.
Yep.
But
That's my favorite ones.
We do a coloring contest, so we
Coloring
get a whole
contest.
page for kids to color it.
Mhm.
They send it to us, and we get a lot of replies from people.
And then we give tickets away if there's an event coming up like Disney on Ice or the MMA, the WWE
Or
the
the
Monster
Globetrotters, Monster Truck.
Truck.
Oh,
So
fun.
we
So
give out
when
tickets,
it's time
yeah.
of that, we kind of like to give events, tickets for the events and for the family. Mhm.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah.
that's my favorite one, because I like to see the little kids really like to send the drawings and make their parents, Dad, just send it to All Americas. I think it's one of the things that I really enjoy, seeing those little ones
Yes.
sending it to us.
And I think for me, it's the engagement that we have. When we go to our social media, we got a lot of followers, but more than the followers, we got a lot of people engaged with us. We only got we don't have an Hola Iowa Facebook page. We only got Hola America News Facebook page, but we put news from Iowa and Illinois there.
Well,
And every month, constantly, we reach about 250,000 people. But the key number is not how many people we reach; it's how many people are engaging with our post,
Right.
how many people are liking it, sharing it, or commenting. And we get a pretty steady number of over 100,000 people every 28 days engaging with our content. And that's pretty encouraging for us because Iowa only has 180,000 Latinos. So for us to, our audience be over 100,000 engaging with us, that means that we're doing a pretty good job at reaching our audience and our allies. Yeah.
So what has been your strategy for social media? Is it just what you find engaging, or have people given you ideas? How do you decide what you're going to put on your social media?
I think we always go back to our mission, which is we want to reflect the Latino community in a positive and we in a dignified way. And what that means is whenever we do something bad on our community, the regular media is pretty good at jumping and putting us on the front page. Look who did this bad. Look
Right,
who
definitely.
the criminals are.
Yep.
And I think that's very unfair. So what we always done is only reflect the positive aspects of our community. Always reflect the people who are the contributors to every community in Iowa. Los trabajadores, la gente, the business owners, the person that
Families
the
too.
families.
We
Yeah.
we like to post a lot of things with families or events.
Oh, and actually, not to plug it, but on the
No,
new
that's
issue, the main story is about a group of kids that have a band called Los Traviesos, and the Joey Camarillo. They're from Council Bluffs, Iowa. So they were here at the Our Lady of the Americas Festival last week.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we covered that, and that's a pretty cool band. And also another story is of Lillian. You know Lillian, right?
Lillian Sanchez.
Yeah,
yes.
that she got inducted into the Iowa Latino Hall of Fame. So that's something very positive, and that's something for our younger generation to look up to. And also, Viva Quad Cities, the festivals that are happening in Devonport. So we cover news from the whole state, but you can see everything is positive here.
Yeah.
If somebody does something bad, we let the Des Moines Register or any other media.
Oh yeah, they will
They'll
pick
take
up on
care
it
of
in a
that,
moment.
yeah.
That's right.
Well, and I think working with the community, we like to show family pictures or kids pictures. That makes us being one of our values.
Yeah, we got 4 values with
Yeah.
the company.
So,
So to pick a story, if it fits into one of the 4 values or more, then we know that we want to cover that. And the values that we go by is we're very family oriented, and we're community minded, educational. We always not only promoting higher education, but we do some articles who are educational to our community. And the 4th value that we get is engagement. It used to be entertaining, but now with social media we changed that to engaging. We
Yeah.
want to make sure that we put in our paper, on our social media, or our website, make sure that people want to interact with it. And I think we've done a pretty good job with that in the last few years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, it's one thing to read the news, but if then you can react to it, everybody is used to giving a reaction, whether it's on Twitter or a Facebook comment. Everybody wants to be able to give their 2 cents worth to whatever they're reading. So do you, when you track your analytics, who are the people that are mostly engaging with you? What demographic is that?
She's got a good story for that.
Women.
Yeah.
Us.
Women?
Well, yeah, I think we were not fighting, but he was like, I don't see any engagement, or I just see so many women. I'm just going to make a new Facebook
Well,
sport page.
The actual number were 65% women, 35% men.
And he wanted to
engagement.
change that. So I'm like, oh.
Well, I thought it was a very disbalance. I wanted to be 50-50,
Yeah.
50-50. So I thought we were not doing enough for the men. So we created this Hola America Sports Facebook page.
Because we have that one.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, you're gonna see, and then he's like, no, I'm gonna make it, and then he started making it the Facebook page, and he saw the engagement. Guess what?
Well, at the beginning I was right because 65% of the people that was liking it were men. But when I started seeing the engagement,
liking it.
65% of the people engaging were women.
With the sports
With the
page.
sports
where
page,
With
it's
the
too.
still
sports
women.
page.
It's still
So I'm
women,
like,
yeah.
see, still women, so you're not gonna get rid of that.
Well,
So,
I love it,
yeah.
and I enjoy that, and that tells me what type of stories I should be sharing, and that I also need to be sensitive and make sure I check sometimes my own male mentality to make sure that I don't offend anybody, make sure that I don't say anything inappropriate or something plain dumb. Because as you can see with everything happening in politics now, even some people that you think are really high up there, they can say some dumb stuff. Yeah.
Well, and I think because of we go to the same thing to our values always, but we see families and mother. You know, the mother at home is the one who says, "Oh, let's go here, let's go there," and then they're like, "Oh, I like when you do this, or I like when you post this, or I see a picture of my kid." They love that because back in our community, we used to have a posada every year. So having like I'm talking about 300 or 500 people, families with kids. So when we do that engagement with them, they love to see their photos in the newspapers. So that was one of the things that I said, if we have the families happy, I think we're gonna get, what we really love to do, give them what they need, information about all the quinceañeras fashion shows that we have. So that give us a lot of, ¿cómo se dice?
I think a street credibility with the
Yes.
people.
And so with the families. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of the things that we love.
Well, and as much as the Latino culture is known for being machista and very male dominate, when I moved to Des Moines, and I don't know if you found this in the Quad Cities or as you move west across the state, but when I moved here and I was in a public relations position, so I was getting to know the community and getting to know the different nonprofits and the movers and shakers of Des Moines, 90% of those were women. I'm, the founder of organizations like Latinos Unidos was a woman, and the Latino Heritage Festival, as you mentioned, Joanne Mackey, a
Yes.
woman. The Latinos Affairs office, as far as long as I have lived in Iowa, it has been a woman that runs that. This community.
Ida Plasencia with Lulac, right? One of the trio.
Well, I
Concerts.
got a pretty cool story with referring to LULAC. LULAC's been in Iowa for 62 years. And the Davenport Council, which is the one I belong to, it started 60 years ago in 1959.
Okay.
And what's funny is the way the old timers tell it is that the people behind that to get it organized, to get all the ball rolling, were the women.
Were the women.
Were the wives, the girlfriends. They got it going. They were young back then. And so by the time it came that it got organized and became an official council, then the men's like,
All the men
okay,
were in the front row.
I want to be president, you're going to be vice president,
Yeah,
you're
you're
going to be secretary, you're going to
treasurer.
be treasurer. So the men took that role and they sent the women to
In the
do
kitchen.
the fundraisers, to do the kitchen, to do the type of stuff, which that's very, very machista.
Machista.
But I believe that even from 60 some years ago to now, the people who are the power, the main force, the working force, the front lines of the Latino community are women. Son las mamás, son las abuelas, so are the leaders now. And you're right. Whenever I go to any meetings, there's like 2 men and 20 women. so the rate is very 1 out of 10 maybe. So we need our young Latino men to step up also. But I agree with you. It's really women here in Des Moines and also in the Quad Cities who get things done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
your demographics then to me are not that surprising because of what you cover. I mean, family, again, as machista as Latinos are known to be, in most families, like you said, it's the woman saying we're going to do this on our with our free time. A lot of times, the man might make more money, but it's the woman who is really navigating how that money is going to be spent, which bills are going to get paid, when, and what's left over for recreation, and saying yes or no to the kids when they ask, "Mami, me compra esto?" No.
Oh, I want a quinceañera.
Yeah.
And then mom is like, okay, let's check our budget and
They're decision makers.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. And marketers do not realize that. They think the man is going to be the one making the decision on what to buy. But you're right. It's the woman that's got the money and decides which brand they're going to support. Yeah.
And that's when we work with the quinceañeras fashion show, because we did a fashion show for 4 years?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
4 or 5 years. we're like, we're not gonna get any, because it's just something new in the community. But when we start advertising, 50 girls the first time,
50 girls sign up.
girls.
Wow.
I'm like, they don't go to a financial aid. 50 girls
Well,
with the parents.
And these are 50 teenagers,
Mhm.
girls with their parents. They show up, and we had our first practice,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in a community college. Imagine if you get, like between 40 to 50 girls with their parents. So you get
Mhm.
about 80 parents. You're standing there waiting
For the girls.
for the girls to be done with
I
practice.
know. We're like, we need to do something.
Yeah, then you're standing there.
I
so-
call my friends, all the women. All my friends are the women. Pastors, financial aid, secretaries, or a lot of my friends help me with this. And I said, I need workshops for these families because they just sit in there, and they need to learn something. So we did the first workshop, financial aid.
It was the first day because
Yeah.
if we were in the community college, the lady that helped us get
The place. Mhm.
she said, I'm going to take the parents to their classroom and
Yes.
talk to them about how
Financial aid.
to come to college.
Mm-hmm.
And she did that. And she said, whenever we have workshops that we want to reach the Latino families, there's 2 or 3 people that show up. And now for me to have this audience of 80 people, captive audience because they have to be there for an hour. Yeah. And so that
Take
was,
advantage of that.
so it was a
Exactly,
great
yes.
opportunity.
Yeah, we did various different workshops. Like one of them was financial aid. The other one was like a doctor, a friend of mine. She talked about things for the girls, and I think that give us the opportunity. Also, we connect all of that with the newspaper and all the news, the Facebook, but giving those things to the quinceañeras or the girls being part of the fashion show, make them realize how easy it was going to college. Because a lot of those girls are in college already. We see them and we're so happy because they say thank you because you really open our eyes or help us a lot.
It's a means to an
Because
end.
so
It wasn't because they wanted to be on a fashion show. Maybe that was the driver.
that was the number one thing.
That was the
Just
driver.
being part of wearing a big dress and feeling
Oh,
like a
of course.
quinceañera,
Yeah.
which we find out some of them lied to us because they were 12, 13.
Yeah, they said
And they
"Yeah,
gotta
we're
be
14."
15 or 16 at least. There was an age, but I'm like, but you just, I saw her last year. She's just 15, so and so. She's like, oh yeah. So
Yeah,
okay.
sorry, I
Sorry.
really misspoke. Yeah.
But that really made me realize that there's a lot of girls and moms that help make that possible to be part of what we do
Yeah.
as a family.
Yeah, I personally, I have some very strong feelings about quinceañeras, which I won't get into, but I always ask myself, how is it that a Latino family that has no savings, working 2 or 3 jobs, but all of a sudden their daughter turns 15 and they cough up $10,000-$15,000 for a party, but if that same girl wants to go to college, I know, mijita,
We
no
don't
hay
have money.
dinero.
Oh, you might
That's
wanna-
why we
you might
did those
wanna-
workshops. That's why
This might get me
we
in
make
trouble
possible.
here.
You can go to college
Yeah.
too. I mean, I know it's like I'm gonna spend $20,000, but also see it as okay. You can have your quinceañera, but then we're gonna work on your college.
Yeah.
So that's why we did the students. We have a lot of volunteers from colleges being partners with us, so we can talk about how you can go. What is the next step for you to go to college? Financial aid. So if we put those things together, it will make them like, oh yeah, so that's gonna happen. I'm gonna go to college. It's not like I cannot afford it. Yeah, there's a way. So
But-
we did that.
But I agree with you 100% because
Mm-hmm.
that was the reason. We used to do also photos and videos for quinceañeras.
Oh yeah.
That's why we started the quinceañera fashion show. We're like, oh, okay, we can do also do the business part of it. If they gonna do their quinceañera, they could hire us. But one day I was sitting like this with the father of the quinceañera, and he was telling me how, oh yeah, now I gotta, I'm almost got everything paid off. And I didn't spend I did not spend much. I said, well, it was a lot. I said, what you spent? He said, no, I only spent like $10,000. I said, no, you did not. I started in front of him. I started adding up. I know how much I charge you. I know how much the salon charge you. I know how much the band charge you. And I started adding everything up for him. And I see on his face, you just a look on his face going like, he didn't realize how much he had spent on her quinceañera. And when I got almost to 20,000, I stopped because I saw the look of his face that he didn't sit down really to realize that.
Yeah.
And then he's depending on a lot of the padrinos to step up. When half of them are not gonna step it up. They're just
Right.
gonna do a little bit. And I think that was the year that I decided, you know what? They're spending $20,000 on the quinceañera, and they don't have anything savings for their college.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt a little guilty of that, and I'm like, but then again, that's their choice, I cannot also, impose my mentality on them, but we really need to be a little more conscious of that, over the choices. And if any parent is listening that is playing the quinceañera to the kids, all I have to say is, you don't have to have a huge party. You don't have to spend $20,000. Maybe spend half of that, and put the other half on a savings, account or on a college account for your kids. That way she could have a future after 15.
Right.
Yeah.
But go to college.
Yeah.
Yeah, or go to a trade, or just have options for her
Mhm.
Yeah.
beyond the pictures and the memories of this big party.
Yeah. No, but yeah, those are a lot of the ways that our community, Latino community, is part of their culture. So we need to also adapt to that and make sure. And I know a lot of those celebrations also are very different now that they live in here in the United States.
Right.
So I cannot be too much of a critic on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think also that is part of what we do. Having a newspaper, giving the news, or bringing real stories about people, what's happening in the community. A kid went to high school, and then he went to college. Now he's a doctor. Those are the stories that we cover, that we like, people in our community, the faces that that I know, that is real, that they're in our community, that make you proud.
Right.
So having those like posada, quinceañera, all those events that we do is just part of what we love to do, having this newspaper together, because it's just one thing, so.
And I think the best part of what we do is the credibility that we have built in Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois. People know our brand. People trust us, on what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hoping that for the people here in Central Iowa, that they can see that hopefully we can gain their trust also. That they can see that what we're doing is, even though it's a business, but our main driver is not that. Our main driver is to create a sense of community, to show that the Latinos here in Central Iowa contribute to the betterment of Iowa. And we're not the bad guys that they try to paint us sometimes on TV, on the news media.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And if we can do a little bit of that, we can show the a los Americanos, the mainstream audience, all the good things that us as Latinos have. Hopefully, they won't believe the lies of anybody coming from New York telling us that we shouldn't like our immigrant community.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you started this together, Hola America, or
No, he
No.
started All America.
In the year, I didn't know her in the year 2000. And we
Okay.
met maybe 2007, 2008. Actually,
No, 2005,
Yeah,
when my sister.
yeah.
It's a long story, but to
She
make it
used to
short.
advertise with us.
Yeah,
with
I
your
make
sister.
that happen.
Yeah.
Oh,
So then he's like, "Who's the girl who made this happen?"
No, and actually, then she became one of our advertisers.
yes,
But I didn't really know her because my brother was the
one who did the deal,
he was the
Ah,
agent. That was
okay.
his account.
the sales.
And I think it was in 2008 when we started knowing each other.
Mhm.
And then we got married in 2010.
10.
2010. And we
I know.
together we launched Hola Iowa.
All Iowa.
So
So that's
All
our baby.
America was me,
Ah,
but
okay.
Hola Iowa is our baby. Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about how you work together, because I know some couples who say I could never work with my spouse, and it can't be easy. I can tell in your faces.
Well, it's not easy. I mean, I'm honest all the time. I said, well, I love him, but sometimes we don't like each other because we work together and we're like 24/7, but we try to separate sometimes. Okay, this is what we need to do, and let's get it done, and then you can. Don't like me if you don't want, right? But
No,
we
for
don't
me, for me
usually
it's very
have.
easy. I enjoy it all the time. I'm always happy.
Good
so, yeah.
answer. Oh,
Yeah.
mira que entrenada lo tiene.
Right. No, I'm honest, so you know.
I tell people, yeah, I'm the
But I
owner,
love
but
him.
she's the boss. So
But
yeah.
I'm the boss, so you know everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, no, I think we really like it. We enjoy it.
Yeah.
I drive, he drives, or mostly I drive, but
It's been,
he's on the phone. He takes care of the Facebook, and
It's funny because not only do we live together, we work together, so
We
we see
live.
each other, almost 24/7 all
Yeah.
the time.
mhm.
And sometimes even her brother asked her once, do you guys get fed up of each other, all the time, being together? I'm
Yeah,
like,
it was funny. No se
"Well,
caen
we-
gordos.
Yeah, we
Like,
don't think
no.
about it, you just,
We just get things done.
and we
Well, we
like
do-
what we do, and I think, as long as we like what we do, it makes it a
Yeah.
little easier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I told him I'm gonna put my 2 weeks notice pretty soon, so I think I need something else.
she's been resigning for the last 5 years, so yeah.
You don't look too worried
I'm
about
gonna
it.
miss him anyway.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's pretty good. Even my daughter says, "Mom, you just work with him all the time, and he's at home." And I said, "You get used to." And we do things, so we have our schedules, we have meetings, and when we're not together, it's like you're missing something. Like, oh, I need him, so he needs me. I'm like, oh, okay. So we're always thinking or texting, "I miss you."
Aw.
So I think it's just part of us. We just love it, I think.
Well, if you're ever bored, we're always looking for content creators. You can always create your own show. Come down here. We'll get you fed every time.
Thank you. We will.
He'll
Thank
get you
you.
fed. I don't cook.
He'll get
Fair
us.
enough. I will feed you.
That's good.
Maybe next time I make some pozole or something. Something that I know how to make, okay? Because I don't know how to make tamales. So.
Yeah.
We'll let Nate practice his tamales again one day.
Perfect.
I'm sure he's rusty now. It's been like a year and a half since he made tamales.
He will, but no, we love it. I mean, I think we have fun. We don't get tired. It's just go home, do things. I'm the one who cooks at home. He doesn't cook. So I think that's when I spend most of my time if I cook.
I think the only drawback is that sometimes we focus too much on work.
Yeah.
We work.
We
And-
don't separate.
Yeah, and we don't take enough downtime, for us. So
Well, that's what I was going to ask next was when you're not doing stuff for Hola America and Hola Iowa, what do you do for fun? And do you do that together or separate?
yeah,
Together.
together. And really,
I don't do
we're
nothing.
very simple on that.
Yeah.
We watch Netflix, or we
Or
go
we
to the
go
movies.
watch a movie.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
another downtime which we haven't had that in a while. Yeah.
I know.
So it's we're gonna be doing we're gonna be covering the music festival Los Dells in Wisconsin Dells.
Oh, yeah.
That would be
okay.
our little vacation.
Yeah, it be kind of like a little
It's a
vacation,
work,
even though
but-
it's
Sure.
work.
It's work.
But but we're not gonna be working the whole time. So it's we're gonna be doing that. So hopefully that'll be
Do you need an
Nice.
assistant? I can carry your bags,
Come on over. Let's go. We'll take you. We always
us.
need helpers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's what we like that we can be part not only of the Latino community but the whole community by itself. Saturday we're gonna go cover the Riverfront Pops, which is the Quad City Symphony. They're gonna be playing at the Arsenal Island,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna be playing the music of Queen. So that's gonna be pretty cool.
Queen. Huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
this
know.
Saturday?
This
Yep.
Saturday, so
Oh,
so we're gonna go check that out. We're gonna cover that, but I'm like, but we're gonna enjoy ourselves too. So we had to learn to do that. Otherwise, we would have gone crazy already.
Yeah.
So
But it's simple. I mean, we don't need something big. It's just so simple for us. Even just stay home, looking at each other, or just watching a movie, or eating popcorn,
yeah,
or a coffee. That's it.
Yeah.
We don't do nothing out of
No.
like.
and what you see is what you get
Yeah.
with us.
I said, what you see is what you get.
And
That's
Erika
it.
is the fun one part of that. I'm always the business part of it. I'm always very boring.
Yeah.
So you
Because I'm
balance each other
Yeah.
out?
So, yeah. That's not what she's a face. That's why on Facebook, I always put her on Facebook. I
Yeah,
hardly ever
so-
put myself.
So
on
when he
Facebook.
said you have to go deliver, I said this is the face. Remember? So I'm the face. So this face doesn't work. No, I'll do everything. I
Sure.
drive. We deliver together. we do everything.
Yeah.
So, and we love it. I think it's just part of what we do all these 10 years that we've been together, marry and work. And when we have Ola Iowa, we said our baby because we started from scratch.
Yeah.
So it's just like you learn so much, and you're like, okay, this is a baby. This one is already taking care of this baby, but we want this baby walk on his own or its own, and then you start creating ideas, and then he's like, what do you think? And I'm start already building my ideas. I give it to him, and he put it on paper. So that's how we work, and I think it makes it easier for both of us.
So, tell me, between Ola America and Ola Iowa, what is different about the two? What's the focus of Ola Iowa versus Ola America?
I think my focus with Ola Iowa, because the only market that gets board publications is the Quad Cities. And in the Quad Cities, we're used to, crossing the bridge every day. There's a saying that the river doesn't divide us. It's actually the river unites us, the Quad Cities. And but when I do the Ola Iowa edition, I try to only pick stories from the Iowa side of the Quad Cities. And when we do All America, is stories from Illinois, but also the Iowa side of Quad Cities. Well, I don't put news from Des Moines, because that issue is not delivered in Des Moines. Only Ola Iowa is delivered in Des Moines. Okay. And Ola Iowa, I try to balance it. I don't want it to be too much of Davenport. I don't want it to be too much of Des Moines. I wanted to have a balance. That's why on this issue, I think I got on the cover the top three stories. One of them is from Council Bluffs, one from Davenport, and one from Des Moines. And when you look at the rest of the stories in there, you're going to see stories from West Liberty, Muscatine, Marshalltown, all the different communities. And that's what I think Ola Iowa is. We a connector. We're trying to connect all the Latino communities, but also connect the mainstream with our communities. That way they know that we're not just here working on food processing plants. We're doing that, but we're also be the ones that work in construction. We're also the ones that work in the restaurants. We're also the ones that print newspapers. So that's we want to give people a big picture of what the Latinos are contributing here in Iowa.
And so do you have like associate reporters in these different cities then that are reporting back to you or
Yes.
sending you the stories? And
We collaborate a lot with the
photographers.
with the local, actually the mainstream press, like in Marshalltown with the Times Republican. Sometimes when they do stories, we borrow them, we translate them, and we print both versions. Davenport too, sometimes we pick up a Quad City Times story. So the Gazette in Iowa City, and the Press Citizen, and also the Iowa State newspaper, Iowa State University Daily is we borrow stories from there every now and then. So even though we might have some people in different places, also we collaborate with the mainstream media to cover some stories. Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And what's one of the biggest differences that you've seen covering stories in the Quad Cities and then covering stories in Des Moines?
I think for me, they already know who All America is in the Quad Cities. So whenever we go to an event, they're like, "Oh, sure, we can cover it.
Coming in.
We don't need press passes. They know us."
Yeah.
Over here, not so much. Over here, they're like, "Who are you?
Yes.
All Iowa. We never heard of it." So
We don't know who it is,
Yeah.
so we get that. So I think that's the difference.
That's
or
a
if we
bigger
go
difference.
to eat at a restaurant, they know us. Like everybody
Quad
knows
Cities.
us in the Quad Cities.
over here, we're still
Like,
building that.
One
Yeah.
time we forgot, and I remember he forgot his wallet. I forgot my purse the same day, and we were eating, and we forgot. And he's like, "Okay, you pay." I'm like, "No, you pay." He's like, "I don't have my wallet." I said, "I don't have my purse." I thought you were. So because the owners know us, they're like,
They're like, "Oh,
"Okay."
he's gonna
I
pay
said,
me
"Okay,
later."
we come back later and we'll pay you." But here is another. I mean,
If that happens
know,
here, I don't know what's going to
if
happen.
that happens here, like I said,
Washing dishes.
Watching dishes, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I think that's the difference between All America and All Iowa.
Yeah. Over there we established. Over here we're still
Yeah, we're
working
still
on that.
learning.
But little by little, I think we're building those relationships with people like yourself, people like your festival, people in some businesses. There's a lot of great people here in Des Moines, and I think a lot of times everybody's busy on their day-to-day life, and that's why All Iowa helps them connect with what they need. Sometimes a business owner might have an issue, and we connect them with the right people that can, help them, solve that issue. Maybe somebody might need a liquor license, for the state. So I know the right person that can help me with that.
Well, and I think now that you say that, when we go, we have the opportunity to go those different places like Muscatine, Marshalltown, Cedar Rapids. We know people there too, so we make those connections with LULAC. Also, we create some of the LULAC councils because we have the opportunity to meet people and we know them one-on-one. Like, oh, I know them, so this will be great, and we start creating that connection. So if we see the need, we said, LULAC can help you, or you can have this other organization. That's what it gave us a lot of radar.
And I think that's part of our approach when we did our rebranding.
The
We
one-on-one.
flipped our approach of whenever we connected with a business, we were first thinking, oh, what can I sell to them? How can I make a sale here? How can I benefit myself from that? That's the way I used to do things that way back in the day. When we did our rebranding about 10 years ago, we realized that I needed to flip it. It's about relationships. It's about building a relationship, and you get a relationship, eventually the opportunity will present itself. So we put relationships before opportunity. And I think it's an approach that has really given me a lot of peace of mind. Sometimes, most of the times, I think it works overall. But I don't think people get it. I probably wouldn't have gotten it 20 years ago when I started doing this. Maybe it wasn't. I wasn't ready mentally, to see the benefits of that. And that's what has allowed us, like Erika said, to help build the trust or the communities, the relationships all over Iowa. And I think we need more of that. We need more people to first say, how can I help you? Instead of asking,
what's in it for me?
What's in it for me? What can you do for me? Yeah. And if we have more people doing that, guess what? Eventually the opportunity is going to come, because they're going to say, hey, I need something like this and TAR can help me. And then they could get you services.
Right.
So I we need more people to subscribe to that approach. And but that's me, is work for me. And I think some people might say, no, that's crazy. How can you give your work for free? How can you do this for free for somebody? You need to charge. Well, sometimes you need to build a trust first on that aspect.
Right, and it pays back later. I mean, it's something you have to build towards, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you notice a difference now that this is a caucus year and the politicians are, all over Iowa? Or how is that changing? Are they putting a lot of pressure on you that they want you to run stories or cover them, or how are you approaching that?
Same approach. They reach out to us. We say, okay, we cover that. That. I think that's one of my policies that I have with politics. If they reach out to us, we're gonna reach out back, and then we're gonna follow them. We're gonna cover their events. But if they don't reach out to us, it tells me, maybe they don't see the value of reaching our audience is on that. And because the same thing many years ago, I'll approach them, and a lot of the candidates, they kind of like look at me funny, like, no, they don't see the value of the Latino voter. And so I'm like, okay, that's when I create my policy. No, I'm only gonna reach back when they approach us. And there's a lot of candidates who see a value on that.
Sure.
But there's a lot that they still don't think that the Latinos are a power force in Iowa. And we're not there yet, but we're still big enough that we could make a difference, especially when there's 24 plus candidates running, that even that 1-2% could make a big difference for one of these candidates. Yeah.
And we noticed on the caucus when we did with LULAC, they had a band. And because we are in a different places, we were driving the band because that way the Latinos, we want them to learn a little bit about both and about LULAC.
We helped them with the strategy on getting more Latinos out to caucus, and it worked. Because according to an exit poll, about between 10 to 13,000 Latinos caucus on the last Iowa caucus, and that's the biggest increase ever. I think that the prior caucus only 1,000 participated, and the biggest number was 3,800 when Obama first ran. So that help out a lot. But that's once again the collaboration that LULAC did with Ola Iowa, and with other councils to really get the people out there to get out and vote. And we're doing that again this year. We're trying to register a lot of more people to vote. There's a new campaign that we haven't even launched yet. But they're investing a lot of money on that. They last time they invested $250,000. This year they're going to invest $100,000 into really getting the Latinos out there to vote. Where they're going to hire people to help out canvas. They're going to hire people to go and help people to register to vote. And I think we need to, as a community, really show up. Doesn't matter what candidate they pick, but show up. Show them that really the vote of the Latinos, that we have a voice here in Iowa. And if we can get 10,000 more people to come out to the caucus, hopefully some of these candidates are going to start listening to us. Otherwise, they're gonna keep passing laws that are going to affect us. And you know why they keep doing that? Because they don't think we have a voice on that.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's important for them to see our faces, not just because we support this one or this one or this one, because I don't want to give names, but I mean, you have to be there. I mean, if we can, we'll be there and cover the news. But if someone approach, like Tar said, if they approach us, of course, because they want an ad,
Right.
and you have to do it. We always put our positions in the middle. We ¿cómo se dice?
We're nonpartisan.
We're
Nonpartisan.
nonpartisan, so we try not to go this way or the other.
And try to be unbiased
Yes.
too with the candidates. And sometimes people say, how come you put so many posts of this candidate? Well, they're the ones reaching out to us.
Yes.
How come you haven't put a post of this other candidate? Well, that's because they haven't reached out to us. And it's funny because I get accused from one side to be a partidary of the other side, and then vice versa.
Yes.
Of course.
And you can never make everybody happy.
Right.
So I just try to hopefully most of the people will see that we try to be balanced. But yeah, if they're going to reach out to us, of course,
Yep.
they're probably going to have more posts on our Facebook. Has a candidate hasn't even taken the time to really make a phone call or an email to us.
And of course, it's also part of us being a newspaper or a social media. Give us the opportunity to give the information to people. We try to be balanced, but one of the things that we make sure, if they ask for help, we try to say, this is the leaders that you have in this community. We give their names. We make sure they know who they are. I'm not taking the credit. I don't take credit. He doesn't take credit. We said, this is a community, you're going to be there, but you're going to say thank you to the people that has been helping us, because we send them over there or we send them over here. So we always try to say, you have to say thank you to these leaders, or consider them for you because they're here, they're supporting you, so you help them. It's not help me or give me, it's just, this is the leaders in this community. So we always try to do that.
And everything boils down to the golden rule. Treat somebody like you want to be treated. And there's a couple of smart people in some of those campaigns that they call us, they're very nice to us, they ask us for help reaching out to some communities. And we help out. Why? Just because we think our community needs to listen to that candidate because he's reaching out. Just because of that. There's nothing in it for me. I don't charge money for that. I don't charge the community's money for that. I just think it's more of a community service that we do. But we, like Erika said, we don't take credit for that. We don't want to take credit. We don't want to be out there introducing people saying, oh, we endorse so and so.
But we want to make sure that they give them thanks and give the credit who really is part of the community.
Yeah.
I think we like to do that. So.
Yeah. So, but yeah, politics could get a little crazy. Yeah.
We can get into so much.
Yes, I know. We tried to be nonpartisan with the festival, and we knew this year we were going to get approached with different groups, and we had to, have a statement ready for them and say, that what we want is X, not, this. And basically what we told everyone was, we don't really want, if we can't have all the candidates, which luckily for us, we didn't have the room for all the candidates to have a space, then we said, all we want is voter registration. We don't want you talking about your campaign or your person, but if you will come and register people to vote, then you're welcome to come. And fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to see it, none of the candidates had that kind of time, which it's a time commitment. It's not, oh, we can't just come by and say hi and then keep going. No, I'm sorry. If you come, you're going to register people to vote.
That's a great approach. It is all about, going back to your mission and your values. You say if your mission is, maybe helping people to get registered to vote. That's very rock and roll now. Like people very, rock the boat, get out there. So they mix the music with that. That's good. But probably you know better what your mission is or what you do in your festival, and sometimes maybe politics could get in the way of that.
Yeah.
So I respect your decision on that.
Yeah, thank you. So something that I always ask my guests, I like to get to know people better, and the 2 or 3 people watching might want to get to know you better.
Your tia, do you say hi to your
My
tia?
tia, hi tia
Hola,
Ida. But I do want to know, what are your 5 favorite things about Des Moines? It can be, I had Marlou on, and she had 5 restaurants. And then I had Deanna on, and she had she had people and places and different things that she likes. So you guys are fairly new to Des Moines. So far, what are your 5 favorite things about your new home?
You go first.
Tasty tacos.
You're gonna get in trouble. People are gonna hate
I know.
you
I'm
for that.
sorry, but well, I mean, restaurants, I guess.
Yeah.
My daughter, she likes the mall, so I drive all the time to the mall. It's not my favorite, but I like to go there. What is another one? The people that I met, and you, Sonia. Thanks to Sonia, we are here too. So
You're taking all my
my
answers.
friends.
Oh, yeah.
So it's gonna be the same. So okay, you say the rest because it's gonna be las 5 mismas.
No, I think the people
People.
here, they're so
People.
fantastic.
Love
They're
it.
different. And we love the people here. And Sonia is one of them. So if Sonia is watching, we love you,
Number
Sonia.
1.
Yeah, and I think the people are so special here.
I think we like El Capitolio también, no? It's
Oh
our
yeah,
favorite
to
place.
being so close, to
The
to
capital,
the
the
action,
capital, yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yep.
Restaurants, to have a diversity in restaurants, so many different restaurants from Latin America here, that's fantastic. We haven't tried them all, but we aim to try them all. But I think my favorite part is the people here, the Latinos, how we're very.
We have a long list, so we don't want to, just
Yeah.
leave some. But
Yeah.
Sonia was the one that came to my mind. So.
Yeah,
But I love all of
think
them.
We'll do a scroll.
Yeah, we'll
in
just scroll
post.
all
We'll
We're just gonna
do that.
scroll
We like
all
to
of the
thank
people.
just
Yeah.
a big long scroll. So.
No, I think people here are very
we
beautiful.
we feel very blessed,
Yeah.
and the people that we met, they're really welcome with us with open arms. We love that, and we feel blessed. That's it. I mean, what
Yeah.
else? And
I
we're happy.
I think that's a
We're
good
really
word,
happy.
bless. And I see so much potential here for a community in Des Moines. Really, if a community could unite, if we could collaborate, I think we have such a strong voice in the whole state of Iowa. And I'm a dreamer, so I hope that someday, we were talking earlier, the next generation could be the one that can unite us all. People like your daughter, like my daughter, that they will see how united we can do a lot more things. And we were talking about how it's not really going to be a Latino future. It's going to be more a multicultural future.
Right.
Us really working together with the African American community, with the refugee community, with all the communities that are underrepresented here in Iowa. If we could come together with a strong voice and not let other people divide us, I think we will be very strong. But I hope that's not just a wild dream. Yeah.
También nos encanta ir a los tlacoyos.
Oh, the food. Yeah,
The
I think we
food.
mentioned.
The
I think
food.
we mentioned the restaurant twice, right? We mentioned the food too.
Okay, well,
That's a recurring theme.
I
All
think
my
it's the
guests
only thing that
always mention a lot of the food, and,
The
and it's becoming a really interesting food city. So that's good.
Yeah.
so,
Well, I'm so excited that you guys came, and I learned more about your story and more about you. As a couple, I've always admired that you work together and that you can tell that you have a strong relationship, that you enjoy working together, that this is a passion of yours, and you can see the love between you, and that's really inspirational to me personally. So I thank you for demonstrating that here tonight, to the audience, and for coming and spending some time.
Oh.
Thank you to anyone and anyone who's out there watching. Hola America and Hola Iowa, look for them on Facebook, and if you're in Iowa, you can find their hard copies in a lot of the Latino and some non-Latino shops around town, so look out for that for sure. And tune in again. I will post again when we're going to have another episode of Christina Speaks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nate.
No, my pleasure.